I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you're thinking forward progress. Come on.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
We award you Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast on 312 Sports. I'm Dan Bernstein. That is Matt Abaticola. Your Chicago Bears 9-4 and are powering their way toward what they hope will be a playoff appearance, a must-win game on Sunday at home against the Browns. How must-win? Well, how about a 29 percentage point difference due to the outcomes? Win the game, your playoff possibility stays right around 71%, according to PFF. You lose the game, you're underwater. They lose this game, they're down to 42% possibility of making the playoffs.
Yeah, and you look at the NFC North with the Packers at Denver, the Lions at the Rams. A good opportunity here for the Bears at home against a 2 or 3 win team in the Cleveland Browns to make some pace here in the NFC North as well.
So let's talk about the state of the Bears with our guest joining us for the first time from Marquee Sports Network. He is Scott Bair. You can follow him on Twitter at ScottBairNFL. He of the Chicago Football Show that airs Mondays and Wednesdays on the Marquee Network. Scott, welcome.
Hey, Scott.
Thanks for being here.
My first time. Was so excited to get that email in the inbox yesterday. Let's talk some football, man. It's going to be a fun final month of the regular season.
It certainly is. And looking at this game, we've talked about it this week in preparation and the cold weather. You have a rookie quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. You have the Bears coming off the loss from Green Bay up in Lambeau. Their playoff spot goes from the number 1 seed down to the 7 seed. We're hanging on for our playoff hopes. What do you hope to see from the Bears and Cleveland at Soldier Field this weekend?
Yeah, I feel like I need to see some resolve from this group. And then I believe that we're going to get it because I talked to Jalen Johnson, one of my favorite conversations in the entire Bears locker room, right after they lost to Green Bay. And look, you could hear a pin drop after that game because they understood it was a winnable opportunity that they let slip at the end. A pick to seal the game is a tough way to go. But Jalen Johnson was already saying, hey, look, we're not an outfit that loses 2 in a row. That's something that they take pride in. It's something that hasn't happened since weeks 1 and 2. And that's something that has been preached because nobody's going 17-0. But when you hit the roadblock, when you stumble, can you get back up and maintain your previous pace? That's what the Bears expect from themselves. And look, for as much as they are getting asked about 2 Packers games in 13 days, I think that internally, Ben Johnson and this locker room leadership, guys who have been to and won Super Bowls, understand what it takes to get to the postseason, and that involves a victory at home where they've been really good against the Cleveland Browns.
And I know we're going to get into a lot of the specifics and plenty of details, but I want to pull back for a second and just look at the story of the 2025 Bears. That when NFL Films does its season retrospective that they do for every team, is the headline, as I expect the headline is going to be new coach, new energy, new culture leads to a winning Bears season that came up short in the playoffs. That's sort of where I think is a reasonable way of looking at this. And yet they can't think that, because that's not their job. That's our job. And their job is to be thinking about, let's go win the Super Bowl. What is the distance between those two realities?
Yeah, I mean, I would list everything that you did except the fall short in the playoffs, and I would add a year ahead of schedule, right?
Well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
No, and I definitely think that that's also true. I think the fascinating thing about what this season is that kind of getting up to this point, it was about all those things that you were saying. The new coach and developing this quarterback and building this defensive identity and making the Bears relevant and prominent and interesting in the autumn and in the winter. What I think has changed now, right, is when you get to these last 4 games, now it's about what can we do with this little pocket? And I think that the opportunity is there, that we can take the previous kind of storyline out, and now you have this unique opportunity here. And because I said a year ahead of schedule and losing in the playoffs, you're 100% right. They are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they can be the exact same thing, whether they're a year ahead of schedule or not. They're here right now, and the teams they need to beat are remaining on the schedule. Packers, you cannot get swept. You need the tiebreaker against San Francisco, and you need to go at least 1-1 against the Lions. So all these opportunities are in front of them. And when you look at the roster, right, how much of the talk midseason was about, well, who have they beat? Or they're winning one-score games. That's not sustainable. Okay, well, what have they shown us in the last 2 weeks against Philadelphia, albeit a stumbling Eagles team, and a darn good Packers team, best defense I've seen on this schedule? If they have shown that they can compete with the best teams in the NFC, that's what they're going to do down the stretch. Health is somewhat improving, and I think that, again, you look at this month as its own unique thing, maybe independent of all these things that we're talking about. What can they do with it? I think that's going to be the fascinating thing as we go down the stretch.
Now, Scott, you're up at Hallis Hall. You're around the coaches, the players, and you pick up on things that you hear and see and witness with your own eyes. We've talked a lot this year about, as everyone has, about Caleb Williams and his progression and his ability to pick up Ben Johnson's offense and to play at a high NFL level. What are you hearing? What are you picking up on with regards to Caleb Williams from the coaches, from his teammates, about not only this year, but where Caleb can go as a quarterback?
I think that's the fascinating thing, and that's where the optimism comes from, because go back to July, and we're talking about, can they get to the line of scrimmage on time? That early in September, we are looking at the play clock being like, me and who I sit next to is Adam Johns from CHGO, and we're watching the play clock being like 3, 2, right? And then think about where we are now in terms of the operation, and where we are now in terms of Caleb being able to play within structure. And he's not there yet. I think if you look at what Jordan Love has done, and you look at how he plays within the structure of that offense, I think it's dramatically different. But I think that there's optimism about what comes next, and that comes from the coaching staff, which has been steady and steadfast and demanding of their quarterback, and continuing to push him forward. He throws for 4 touchdowns, not good enough. He throws for 53% or something like that against the Eagles. There were good moments. Let's extract those and realize how we can be better. So I think that this offense was never meant to be mastered in the first year. Let's go back to the summer. Again, Ben Johnson says that the expectation is for Caleb Williams to have a 70% completion rate. We're nowhere close to that. But guess what? Jared Goff didn't crack 70% until his 3rd season. And then he hit 74. Now he's a different quarterback and a different stage of his career with different teachings. But my point is that we see the potential there. And the tough part about it that I think coaches are trying to navigate is you have this special player who can do unbelievable things, right? Who can make throws that 3 people on this planet can make. But then, so you don't want to teach that out of him. But then there are times where you want him to hit the back foot when he's done with his drop back and fire, right? So it's about finding moments for each of those things. Part of that is coaching, being able to build a system that works for him. Part of that is Caleb taking hundreds and hundreds of boring practice reps, and eventually he will see it. The light has come on in different areas. I would anticipate the light to continue to come on in other areas, and we can be harder graders next year. But I think he's made progress, and I don't know what schedule is. I don't think the coaches care about a schedule. They care about the end result. And I think once he gets into this system, probably in 2026, let's be honest, then I think we can see this offense's true potential.
Well, we're going to be hard graders right now, whether you give us permission to do so or not. And I sort of highlighted what happened in the Eagles game, or excuse me, in the Packers game, when you saw that awful first half. I understood, I guess, the idea of some of the play calling, but wherever the play calling meets execution, it didn't work. In the second half, we saw more designed boot actions.
Yep.
We saw the movement of the launch point, and we saw what were essentially some half-field reads that involved the layered concepts. Now, that's not Ben Johnson's offense.
Right.
He does not want to do that. He wants the under center play action, motion and play action. And each one of those things, by the way, if you look at expected points added just in general, from adding motion to adding play action, just to being under center, those are all things that objectively make your passing offense better, and they're still working there. So there were a lot of people like, hey, do more of that, do more of what you did in the second half. And my response is, no, that's not his offense. You can get out of a game doing that. It may be a good strategy or tactic at times within a game, but do you think there's any temptation, I guess is my question now, Scott, now that they're good and this all matters in a different way, to say, you know what, let's give them some simpler concepts that do all this. We'll get to development after we see how far this can go and max out what we can do with him right now? Or are they say, stick to the plan, the offense is the offense, learn it?
Yeah, I go back to something that Dennis Allen said, and I promise this will relate to what we're talking about, is that they lost Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson was still out and TJ Edwards, right? That you don't have the fundamental anchor pieces on that defense. And I've covered Dennis even back when he was with the Oakland Raiders. And he said, why would I call the same offense if I don't have the players who can execute what I'm calling? Like that's counterintuitive. And I think that what we've seen, not only in the last couple of weeks, but going back over the last several weeks, is making things a little bit easier. At times cutting off half the field, or at times being like, okay, you know, you got 1 and 2 and let's try to get rid of it, to where there is a balance of those things because we're at the position that we're at, right? Going back to question 1 is that they are 9 and 4. There is a unique opportunity here. So how can we best game plan to help this quarterback succeed? Now, at times it succeeds in a really interesting way. At times he's doing Houdini stuff where he's getting out of sacks and then he's off schedule and then he throws it deep or he throws it away, and that's when we see the completion percentage drop. So I think deep down this coaching staff wants him to play on schedule more often, wants him to operate within the structure of what he is seeing, even if he's only being asked to look 1, 2 and then figure it out. I still think they want to get the ball out earlier and on time and in rhythm, but the head coach has been very careful, and I don't think he's wrong to say this isn't all on the quarterback, that yes, we're not winning because of the passing game, maybe in spite of it sometimes, but he was very careful to say this is about receivers being detailed in their routes. It's about proper depth. It's about timing. It's about protection. It's about making that chip as a tight end and still getting where you're supposed to go. And I think that what we've seen from the run game is kind of in contrast to what we've seen from the passing game. So the question becomes, is the quarterback holding you back? And I don't think that's the answer. I also don't think that the Bears have the benefit, because of everything that we've been talking about to this point, to say we can rely on our quarterback to go when it's a game when all else fails. So that's where I think the Bears are right now. This is one of those teams that needs the complimentary coach speak as much as any unit right now, especially when you look across the landscape in the NFC and you see Matt Stafford at an MVP level and Jordan Love playing well and some of these other really good teams having excellent quarterback play.
Yeah, the whole way that broke down last week, we talked about it, and we thought it was very interesting that the criticism that Ben Johnson had of the passing game on Monday, I didn't hear him single out Caleb Williams. I didn't walk away from that going, oh, wow, he really must not be happy with Caleb Williams. I thought he was talking about his passing game. Mm-hmm. And then for him to choose to go the next day to say, hey, listen, I'm very happy with Caleb, I thought it was unnecessary because I didn't hear him go after or attack Caleb Williams. What was your take on why Ben did that, and what did you hear both days? Yeah,
I heard what you heard, actually, and I thought what you thought, and I thought maybe the second go-around was, I don't know if it was unnecessary, but I don't know how many people were thinking that. But part of being a coach, it's like a layered thing, right? It's not only what you say, it's how it's heard and how it's received and how everything is going. And if at times you have to go the extra mile to say that too, because at times, look, the coach, when he's in front of a podium, he's speaking to us or fans. There's other times he's speaking to the people in the locker room, right? That there's the messaging is going in every direction. Mm-hmm. And if he felt like he had to clarify it and that did help in some way, shape, or form, that's a good thing. I've never known, and look, let's be clear here. I interview people in the locker room. You see them for about 0.75% of their day. I don't claim to know them or what they're thinking on the inside, especially in a market like this when one guy is surrounded by 50 people and microphones going over the top, right? So let's not claim that. But I know Caleb to be a supremely confident individual, especially when paired with Ben Johnson. And I think that partnership is working really well. So to answer, I don't have a good answer for you why the second time, but I agree with you that I didn't think it was necessary. And again, I love covering Ben Johnson because he's not going to tell you about injuries, but he's got this inkling to tell you the truth that he just can't avoid.
He can't fight it sometimes.
And I love it. I just love it.
It's amazing how well this administration has stayed focused when it comes to not saying anything about injuries.
Yeah.
The history here, and I've been covering teams back since they're 30 years, that you always counted on things leaking out. It was even if he got a knee or this guy's got a back, and even after they quarantined the trainers away from us and you couldn't talk to anybody, it still got out. With this team, like already in this year under Ben Johnson, it is pretty clear that they've got injury information on lock. And that is why when he said what he said about Kyler Gordon yesterday, about it didn't look good, I don't know, to be determined. And my first thought was red flags all over the place. If we see him at all this year now, I'm preparing for him being done. But that's me. I'm not reporting that. I'm just saying that. Have you noticed that too? That this Bears administration does a really good job keeping us from finding out what's really going on with injured players.
Yeah, I mean, you'll even see it where Ben will talk on Fridays before practice, and he'll say, I don't know, we're going to see about Ozzie, or we're going to see about Theo or TJ or whatever, and then you get it 90 minutes later. You walk out 15 minutes later. He's not on the practice field for the 50th consecutive day, and then sure enough, he's ruled out. And Pat Finley and some of the other guys have asked, well, what's the difference between the 90 minutes, right? And he's like, well, what's the difference between the 90 minutes for you, right? As in, why do we want to hold this back? And I don't know, I can kind of respect it. Sometimes you get guys like Mike Tomlin who will go up on a Friday and give you the list. I've had situations with coaches like that, but I also kind of get it. I really do. So some minor background. I used to work for the Atlanta Falcons on the team side. I did 3 years of that, about as far as I could go. But it's crazy how much these pro scouting staffs look at other teams' photographs and pay attention to all the things that you don't think coaches have time to do. They find time to do it. So in any little advantage I think that they can get, they're going to take, and any opportunity to, we didn't know that DeMarco Jackson was going to play middle linebacker until Sunday during warmups, and me and Adam again are counting people, right? And I think that's okay. That doesn't bother me very much as a reporter. I kind of understand that, but when it is important, and when guys, it didn't look good, at least they're telling us that.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that stuff with your time with the Falcons, because that's really interesting, and it just confirms even more how psycho football coaches are. And I can appreciate that. Yeah, 100%. So the Bears Sunday, Soldier Field, Cleveland Browns. Bears need a win here. What's it going to look like in your eyes, Scott, if the Bears get a win? What are you looking to see, and then what's going to happen if that does come through?
Well, I'm immediately going to scoreboard watch, because the other two teams in this division have difficult opponents. So can they make up a game? I think it would be a disastrous situation if the Broncos won, as an example, over Green Bay, and then Chicago can't take advantage of that opportunity. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is that what does this Browns game do to the lay of the land as they enter into those final 3 games that they're not more important, but they get amplified because they're in division and at times in conference, or with a direct tiebreaker opportunity right now between the number 6 and 7 seeds. Yep. That game against San Francisco on a Sunday night could be pretty important. So that's how I'm going to look at it. But again, I don't think we can operate under the assumption that the Browns are just going to roll over here. And I think that if there's any team who plays in an outdoor stadium very close to a Great Lake where the wind freezes and rushes off, we get Lake Michigan, they get Lake Erie. So if there's any team that's going to be able to play in these elements and understand that, it's probably these guys. Something tells me kicking is going to be a nightmare, and that ball is going to hit you in the chest if you're a wide out, and it's going to be difficult. But I think it's a matter of weathering elements. It's a matter of the Bears being a favorite, acting like a favorite, and understanding that despite the fact there are superstars on the other team like Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, that you need to understand that you have more talent than them, and you need to execute like you do. There are times when it's a coin flip, right? There are times when you need to assert yourself and take care of business. I'm of the belief that if you take care of business against lesser teams or cellar dwellers and you go 500 against everybody else, you're in playoff contention every year. The only way that you do that is by beating Cleveland on Sunday.
And one thing we've debated is the balance between to blitz or not to blitz. And there are so many variables in this particular equation. Not only do you have a rookie quarterback, and you would normally, of course, you would blitz a rookie quarterback. And Shedeur Sanders' numbers have been bad against the blitz, but better of late. The trend has been better, which you also expect from a rookie quarterback who is putting in the work. The Bears are not a great blitzing team. Mm-hmm. They have done well timing it up in important situations on third downs or fourth downs. Dennis Allen has found at times to spring it in a certain way, but maybe your best blitzer in Kyler Gordon isn't here right now. You'd love to have the front four have a terrific day on this day, not something you can count on. So when you factor all these things in, do you lean one way or the other against Sanders, coverage or pressure?
I look at Dennis Allen has a good track record against young or inexperienced quarterbacks. And I think that his ability my favorite thing is when he puts 8 guys on the line and you don't know if he's bringing 3 or 8. And look, we've seen that not work, most notably at the end of the first half in that Packers game where he brings 7 and disaster strikes, right? So you don't want that. But Jordan Love against the blitz is not Sanders against the blitz. So I'm of the opinion that you try to rattle this individual early. I thought the Bears did that well against the Saints also. And I think that there is an opportunity if you can rattle and confuse and put thoughts in the head. It's the old Sam Darnold thing, right? Like seeing ghosts. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong.
He doesn't anymore.
He doesn't anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you get bit early, then you adjust. But that's what I think is key. I think the more that Jalen Johnson gets reps under his belt, the more I don't know if he's going to be his all-world self at any point during the year, but I know that the more active he is, the better this team is going to be, and the more in sync that back end is going to be. And I think all those things are important. So I'm of the opinion, rattle young quarterbacks at all costs. That's what I want to do. And if it bites you, I think this team is good enough that you can count. All right, then let's change our tact and try to go some other way.
All right, Scott, thank you so much for taking time today. Really good stuff. Appreciate it. Great first time to have you on, and we look forward to doing it again down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say, I've been on lots of these podcasts. Some of them are just kind of like, is this guy going to play? Is that guy going to play? I kind of had to adjust my brain there because we're talking real intelligent football. So that was really fun. Again, just like Dennis Allen, I had to recalibrate my brain, change my game plan, but hopefully I still brought it. Thank you guys very much.
Good stuff, man. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Scott.
You take care, pal.
Scott Bair. You can follow him on Twitter at Scott Bair NFL and watch him on the Chicago Football Show on Marquee. Yeah, great stuff from Scott Bair of Marquee. And that was really interesting when he's talking about the stuff that the Falcons coaches were doing. The team side stuff is great, but all that does is reinforce the worst stereotypes of especially NFL coaches with cameras.
Yeah, that they're all nut jobs. Yeah,
they're all
looking
maniacs.
At photos of they have planes flying overhead, spy planes taking pictures of who's on the field and who's not.
Yeah, the old giant high altitude U-2 spy planes. They were taking pictures during the Cuban Missile Crisis, or what's the scene in The Town when John Hamm's FBI guys have the long camera lenses and they're taking pictures of the barbecue.
No, did you ever see the Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck? And you never saw it?
No.
All right, so there's like a tourist plane, like it's supposed to be flying people over like Hawaii, and it's actually like a spy plane taking pictures of Pearl Harbor. So I could see, like, if you're Atlanta Falcons playing like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have like a setup. It's a tourism plane, taking people over Tampa, and yet you're taking photos of the Buccaneers practice facility, so you can get an idea of who's on the field and who's not. And yeah, so it was really good stuff and a really good conversation with Scott. A question for you, this.
Yes.
And I don't know how to put this in my brain here. The Bears being ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
And the overvaluation of Caleb Williams, where he's at in his progression, he's not getting a fair timeline of progression and learning. We're ahead of schedule here, so can any of it be looked at bad,
fair.
or is
it's
it all good?
It's fair. They wasted a year. It's fair. The
the
Bears
organization
brought this on,
did, for sure. Yeah.
They brought it on themselves. They absolutely brought this on themselves, and they have to make up time. So it's 100% fair. We're all, look, we don't have enough time left on this planet to have to say, well, it'll take this year, that year, get it done. Go. Get on with it. Let's go. Like they made us sit through that entire Eberflus thing where they bring him back. They make these incomprehensible excuses for retaining him. Go back and look at what they said about why they were keeping Matt Eberflus as their head coach. And they foisted that on us. And then eventually he's so stupid that they have to fire him after the Thanksgiving debacle. They have to. And then they had the whole Thomas Brown affair and everything that went on there. It was just so no. I am a hard core opinion on it is a good thing that they're ahead of schedule. Stay ahead of schedule. If you can't win the Super Bowl next year or this year, win it next year. Yeah. Stay on track and you're not defined by what any other team has done. Look at this NFL. You can't tell me in this NFL it has, well, you got to do this first. We got to get by this team. You got to conquer this. You got to beat them first. You got to go lose a play. No, tell that to the Commanders. Tell that to them.
Yeah, who were just last week eliminated from playoff contention after going to the NFC Championship game. And that's what I've talked about a few weeks ago, Dan, is like, let's seize this moment. And yeah, sure, you are ahead of schedule. You've exceeded expectations for this year. You're at 9-4 right now. And, I think Vegas had you at 7.5 wins or whatever it was. And maybe people had you at 5 wins. And if you're a Meatball fan, you thought they were going to, go, 17-0. But seize the moment right here. And again, I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl this year. I just don't think they're ready for that with this roster and some injuries they're facing right now. But you're a team that can go to the playoffs, can win a playoff game. Let's do that. Let's accelerate this thing with Ben Johnson because of the Ben Johnson effect. Shirtless or shirt on, whatever it might be. You're ahead right now. Take advantage of it. Go out and win Sunday at Soldier Field. Let's take a game from the Packers at Soldier Field. Let's take a game from the Lions and split that series with 2 really good teams in our division. And let's take the 49ers down. And let's have a strong finish to this year. Go out and win a playoff game.
It's funny that we were talking about the whole Ben Johnson shirtless thing and how that's going to resonate and whether or not it's going to boomerang on him making that decision. And we're starting to gather some intel on what's happening there. So far, I've got 2 things. I have the fact that the Monsters, Inc. alternate ESPN broadcast already made a joke at his expense.
Yep.
They said, oh, look at Sully in the locker room. He's like Ben Johnson. Neither one wears a shirt in the locker room. Oh, right? So then on DBU, I noted this piece. We spent some time talking about the analysis from CBS Sports, saying the Bears just pushed the Packers at Lambeau, and Ben Johnson brings juice, shirtless celebrations and all.
Yep.
So I wanted also to introduce this. This is a listener named Michael who sent this in to our email, who said, the Ben Johnson locker room antics are gaining a national reputation because I'm out here in San Francisco. said, I was listening to local radio. The hosts were talking about how wild it is that Kyle Shanahan has never won Coach of the Year. And they said one of the likely reasons is that he's boring and he doesn't do things like take his shirt off in the locker room or have a post-game chant like Ben Johnson. This was all said with a bit of a mocking tone. He said, just one data point, but he's gaining attention, for better or for worse, in another big NFC market. So I thanked Michael for his Bay Area reporting.
Yep.
But, so if we already have 3 of these, that means there's a lot more out there. And it means that if we trust Ben Johnson, he already calculated that ahead of his decision. He knew, look, if we win, I'm going to do this, and did it. And is cool with it, and that's fine, and it's fun. And I know I've heard from some Bears fans who've said, this is good. Our coach is the guy that's out there. The Bears coach is never the guy that's out there. Like, yeah. I mean, if you don't want Ditka driving drunk all over the place and yelling at people and challenging people on the radio to fights, or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe that is what you want, and that just makes everything more like.
Or the Bears coaches have been out there because they've been buffoons.
Well, that's a different reason, yes.
Right, which is not good.
When the entire nation watches a guy go into complete vapor lock with not understanding how to call a timeout in Detroit, yeah, that's being out there as well. But
I think
you don't want Ditka. You don't.
No, you don't.
Want
but
the guy to act like a clown.
Ben Johnson's, like, the national perspective on him will change for the positive or the negative based on the result of this season. I think if they fall short, it's going to look at they're going to look at that shirtless thing and say, hey, that's going to not sit well for Ben Johnson's reputation. I think maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it has no impact or bearing whatsoever in the future. If they do make the playoffs, though, and if they are ahead of schedule and win the division, it's going to be, wow, look at that guy. That's the culture that he created. Remember when he took his shirt off, and it solidified this team unity and this, this whole community that he was building within the locker room. So it could go either way based on how the season ends up.
Yeah, and if you want to praise him for just, taking a risk like that and doing something that might have a downside, okay. It's certainly fun for us. It's
absolutely.
It's been great content. It's for everybody, and for him to decide to have the confidence, the guts to do something like that, okay, why not? Why not? I can't be too mad. I just hope for his sake that it doesn't come around to bite him in the ass if things go off the rails a little bit, and then he's always. I remember the Bears coach took his shirt off for hot dogs, and it becomes a punchline. I hope it doesn't.
It's funny how the NFL scheduling has really served the Bears well this year, as far as our excitement as a fan group for the Chicago Bears. I mean, you have Packers game, and then a Browns game, and then a Packers game, a Niners game, like all 4 of those last 5 with such significant impact. And I'm glad the NFL doesn't do like the home and home series, because I wouldn't be able to handle like back-to-back Packers games. I mean, technically you could do it, but as a fan, I wouldn't be able to. Like, I needed this opportunity to kind of take a breath and be like, all right, let's get ready for the Browns. But I couldn't do, like, could you imagine doing another Packers game this Sunday?
We're starting another Packers week.
I know, but could you imagine back-to-back Packers games? Like, what that would do to your brain?
But they all of these games make me like that. Every one of them. You pick with a Ravens
It's not the same, though. I mean, like the Browns game, it's like I'm not at the same level of the Packers as I am with the Browns.
I'm very concerned about this.
Oh, no, I'm concerned about it. But my excitement level, where everything was distracted from my life leading up to the Packers game.
Yeah, I was counting the hours. I was having a difficult time filling the hours.
Now, could you imagine doing that 2 Sundays in a row?
No.
Like at 2 weeks in your life where you're just So, as part of it would be cool. I'm glad it's not. Like, this is close enough. Like, having a week in between, it's close enough. Like, let's not do this again. Let's separate these Packers games a little bit in the future, so that I'm not like just like Packers overload for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to give these numbers again with these are the numbers we used to bring in Scott earlier. If the Bears win this week, their playoff percentage is still it's at 71%, according to PFF. If they lose, it drops to 42%.
Wow.
This is nearly a 30-point swing in the outcome of this game. And you can look and check and see where the spread is. I want to say it's their largest. The Bears are the biggest favorites that they've been in a very long time in any game. It opened at over a touchdown. It opened at 7.5. And I'm not saying that the Browns are any good, but like you say, they beat the Packers.
Yep.
And injuries matter. I want to know, even if Rome Odunze is listed as, if they're limited in practice or practiced in full, I want to know how he really is.
Right.
And is this how? Are they going to have to put a pin in there? And when? And could it be worse? Because remember what took down Kevin White?
Oh yeah.
That was a stress fracture.
And he was a first round pick, yeah? Wasn't he top 10 guy? 7 guy? 7, yes. I think, overall?
Yeah. Yeah. And then they lied to us. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. He's hurt. He's bad. He's done. And that was that.
You know what isn't impacted by weather? Is a big angry man chasing the quarterback.
That's true. I like that. If the big angry man is playing for the team for which I'm rooting.
Yeah, I was kind of, heading towards that other guy though on the team that's got 20 sacks right now.
Oh, yeah. He's not human.
No.
And I actually made the mistake of going back and watching like a career highlight reel.
You shouldn't do that.
It made me feel bad.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Like leading up to a game where they're playing him, you shouldn't do that.
I know. I did that. I'm like, God, how do you block this dude?
Yeah.
And like even looking at him, he looks like a superhero.
Yep.
He looks like a superhero. He's impossibly built, and the speed should not be correct. Nobody that size
should be that fast.
He's listed at what, 275?
Yeah, he shouldn't be that fast.
No,
for whatever size he is. Yeah,
and going back looking at the blocked kicks where he hurdles the long snapper, and then just kind of stands there.
So why would you do that to yourself?
I probably should, but he's just one guy. It's a football game, and they can do the thing where Kmet or Loveland gives him the little chip, and then they get out there, and you just get rid of it and throw it to the guy that chips, and you get all the free yardage. The Browns aren't good. I keep reminding myself they're not good.
They're not good. You have to, remember that. But you still got to go out and play the game. So.
Oh, and speaking of Kmet, there is a YouTube video. I think it's on Twitter.
I saw it.
The Rack God.
Yes. It's one catch, and these are all from this year. This guy put this all together.
Are they all from this year?
It's just this season, Dan.
It's just
where he catches the ball and immediately falls down. And
Why?
He could probably get anywhere from 5 to 8 more yards.
But he's choosing to fall down.
I understand. I don't get it.
I understand if a guy gets tripped, but there are a couple where it looks like he's catching it and then he just kind of
he falls.
It falls down and tries to
cradles the ball.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't get it. But yeah, that I saw that same thing, and it's all this season.
Well,
those are all catches from this year.
Can somebody tell him to stop doing that?
I said it. So I don't know.
No, just like, hey, dude, he's out and around. He's available.
Catch the ball and keep your feet and keep running.
Text him? Is it like stop falling down immediately after you catch the ball?
Because if that's like 2 or 3 catches a game where you can add 5 yards maybe each time, or 3 yards, 3 to 5 yards, you can add another 9 to 15 yards in the game. That could be meaningful.
Yeah. Look at the touchdown that Colston Loveland scored, one of the plays of the year to beat the Bengals.
Where he runs through 3 guys,
just
and 3 guys bounce off him.
Sometimes guys fall down. Look at what happened in the last game with Jacobs when 4 Bears converged on him.
Yep, just kept his feet moving.
And he emerged from there somehow.
Didn't fall down. Got 21 yards, I think.
4 Bears. And that's not Barry Sanders. There's 4 Bears, and all of a sudden he came out with it. There's no reason ever to stop running until they tell you to, or the whistle blows, or they put up a big sign that says stop. I don't know. But it's just weird. It's a bad habit. I don't want to see that in the scouting report. We'll catch the ball and then decide to fall down.
Yep, catch and drop.
No, thank you.
Stop, drop, and roll. No,
there,
no,
I just want that on the record.
Yeah, no, I love it. Hey, if you haven't gotten the new 312 Sports app, do so. If you are a fan of Forward Progress and you're just not listening to DBU or OWC, what's wrong with you, first of all? So do that.
Man.
Listen to all the content. It's all right there for you on the new 312 Sports app. So get that at the Apple App Store. You can get it at Google Play as well. And then when you have it, you can actually send Dan audio messages, and you could send 12 to 15 audio messages a day to Dan. and tell him how much you love the show, or have a full conversation with Dan without hearing Dan's voice back. You can just listen to the show. You can send an audio message based on every topic we talk about and say, here, Dan, here's my thoughts on Cole Kmet. And then you can listen to more of the show, and then you can say, well, hey, Dan, here's my thoughts on your interview you guys did with Scott Bair. And then you say, hey, Dan, I listened to DBU earlier, and when you guys talked about Michigan, here's my thoughts on Michigan. And then you can go and listen and say, hey, Dan, here's my thoughts on Notre Dame. You can do all of that right there at the 312 Sports app. So you can't do any of that unless you get the app first. So do that.
One just came in while you were talking.
So you can do that, but you have to get the app first, and then you register, and then you can send Dan all the messages you want. You can even send recipes. Like, hey, Dan.
You forgot to tell them to send the same message 17 times.
Yes, do that. Thank you. Who was that? That was composer somebody. I think it was Chris. Chris sent the same message 17 times, and that's not an exaggeration. So
it's all right. No, but we got it.
We love it all. We love it all.
We love every bit of it. Yes.
Dan listens to it, and he responds to everything. So
I'm trying. Listen,
you're doing a good job with that, buddy. You're doing a really good job.
I'm not tagging you or including in like a reply all with a lot of these. You got no idea. I am setting aside time to at least try, and please don't be pissed at me if it's just like a, hey, thanks, or it's an emoji reaction. I am doing my absolute best.
Or you get like a dick pic back. I mean, you never know.
I may accidentally send you a picture of Brett Favre's. Yeah. Just something off of my phone.
That's a great response.
If I accidentally include that, it's just
here's a picture of Brett Favre.
I'm hurrying. I really should do that. I should send non sequitur responses.
I saw
really
I saw a meme yesterday. It was of Phillip Rivers, and he was getting back in shape, and his kids were helping him, and it was the scene from Rocky where he's jogging, and there's hundreds of children behind him. It's like Phillip Rivers and his kids getting ready to go back to the Colts. It was really funny.
Which they then redid in Creed with the guys on the little bikes.
Yes,
on the motorbikes.
Yes, they did.
Phillip Rivers looks so old.
He does, and he looks puffy.
Very.
Yeah.
But
hey, good luck to him.
If he can still get out and get it there,
Team Grandpa, let's go.
I just hope he doesn't get maimed.
I know. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I mean, he's got 10 kids to take care of.
I really hope he doesn't. Well, you can't be taking care of all. One of them's he's a grandfather. He's
right, he's a grandfather.
Is he taking care of all of them and the grandkids? Does he have great grandkids yet?
No, not great grandkids. His grandkids. And I'm going to be a grandpa, and I've told you this on March.
I know.
I'll be a grandpa, and you know what it's going to be? It's going to be a boy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's there'll be another boy in the Batacola household. Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically a member of the Wellwood household, but when he comes here to visit, he can. Yeah.
But the difference is Phillip Rivers is 44.
Yes, he's 44.
Man, you got 10 kids. I don't know. I don't get it.
He needs more of that football money is what he needs.
I don't want to yuck your yum. I hope Mama is got some agency in some of this.
Well, that'll wrap it up for
what she signed up for.
Forward Progress today. We hopefully will have someone from Cleveland to visit and give us a little inside look on tomorrow's show about the Cleveland Browns and Chicago Bears game.
Oh, I got Sunday work to do today. I got to put my list together for DBU.
Yeah, we have top 10 Browns of all time for DBU, as well as Friday Feedback Friday. If you haven't checked out DBU yet, again, what's wrong with you? Do that. Fridays are always a lot of fun on DBU as well. But remember, get the 312 Sports app, the Apple Play Store, or the Apple App Store, or Google Play. We have it there for you as well. And you get rewards, too. And if you're looking for that promo code, it's Bears, B-E-A-R-S. Chicago Firehouse Restaurant, Smash Burger, and Giordano's on there right now. B-E-A-R-S is the promo code that you're looking for.
We'll have Friday Feedback Friday and Top 10 Browns tomorrow, and we will take a more in-depth look at the Bears' upcoming opponent for Sunday, the Cleveland Browns. And that will do it for today's Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast here on 312 Sports.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abatacola on 312 Sports.